I've never seen a truck like this before.
Dad, you can't keep spending money on junk.
I don't think it's a truck at all. I think we just found a transformer.
I'm gonna ask you this once. Where is Optimus Prime?
Alright, Simon, I get it. I get why Transformers get so much shit on the internet now. Like, I've got to admit, I've always quite liked the Transformers films, what they were. I maintain that the first film was actually a surprisingly enjoyable summer blockbuster. It was fun, it was funny, it was impressive, actually, when the Transformers first came on the screen. They were really, really impressive as a special effect. Transformers 2, or Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, it got a bit too wrapped up in itself. I think it really tried to tell too much story that wasn't all that interesting. It tried to delve too deep into fucking established Transformer lore. But at the same time, it kind of diluted for people who are actually a fan of that thing. So I don't think really anybody was particularly happy with Transformers 2. And like,
they lost their audience, I would say, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. And I mean, still, it made a shit ton of money, but I think that was more because people were wanting to see like something more in the vein of the first film. But then Transformers 3, again, kind of largely suffered like the second film. But I did enjoy the climactic battle in Chicago. I thought that made up for a lot of its shortcomings just because it was an enjoyable climax that was quite exciting in places, and it also did actually round off things somewhat, because at that point, that was Michael Bay basically said, "Oh, I'm done with Transformers. I'm not doing it anymore. If they, I'll be a producer for any more they do. But that's me done."
It was nicely rounded off, and to be honest, I think over the course of the three films, the merits outweighed like the sort of dismerits. For me, personally.
I enjoy the Transformers films for what they are.
I agreed with Michael Bay in that I'm done. I was like, yeah, it's you know, I saw that as the end.
Yeah, you know,
we
didn't need any more, really. I mean, there's plenty of other shit that could have started mining, but we didn't need any more. But of course, this is a money-making behemoth, so, you know, they're ploughing on forward. Now, when Transformers 4, I think people were joking around on the internet and such before, it was like if anything was really known about it, but people were talking about it, calling it Transformers. And I still think that's a much better title than what we got, which we got Transformers Age of Extinction, which is a kind of, it's kind of like a soft reboot. It's a second trilogy. It's a second kind of chapter, because obviously the first one had so much rich story that we wanted a second. But first thing that's kind of a bit of a turn of events in this is Michael Bay actually did eventually return to directing this movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's possibly one of the worst things that could have happened for this film, because I think it shows that he no longer is interested in doing this franchise to the best of his own ability.
A lot of the people making the film and in the film are bored.
Yeah.
And the same will go for Mark Wahlberg, the star. The only reason he did it is so that Paramount would make Pain and Gain for him.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that the thing, Michael Bay... wasn't that the thing Michael Bay said, I want to make Pain and Gain, and they said, well, we'll fund it if you direct Transformers.
I feel that it was the other way around. I'm sure it was Mark Wahlberg's project, and they said, we'll do it if you do Transformers.
I thought it was that Michael Bay said, you can have the lead in Transformers because it's a big blockbuster franchise, and you haven't really got many going at the moment, if you star in Pain and Gain. So I thought it was the opposite to you.
I think he had to be convinced to be in Transformers 4, because I think when you watch Pain and Gain and when you watch Transformers, there's one he's definitely more into.
Well, yeah, one of them is
the same goes for both of them. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look this up. We should have really looked into this before we started.
Well, either way, one of them had to do a favour to be in the other.
Yeah.
But god damn, yeah. Like so. I mean, you know, I've got to admit, when this was all kind of starting to come about, I thought, you know what? I give this it's dues. It's a new kind of start. You're getting rid of Shia LaBeouf and all his fucking teen coming-of-age drama bullshit. You're sweeping it out the way. You're getting Mark Wahlberg, who, you know, he's an action star in his own right. Maybe he'll integrate with the action of the big Transformer franchise a bit better. And to a degree, he does.
Yeah.
But it's still not very good. But
it's shit, Ben.
it's horrible, isn't it, really? So... I mean, to be fair, it seems like the least started out with good intentions, because the plot's fairly... At least it fits in with the other movies. It's set kind of a few years after the events of 3, or what was that, Dark of the Moon, that one. And it's now Earth is now a world that is sick of Transformers. Every time they show up, shit happens, people die, cities get wrecked. So now all Transformers, Autobot, or Decepticon have essentially been declared enemies of the state. And you've got fucking Kelsey Grammer playing Harold Attinger, who's this basically shady CIA agent who works with like this team. What are they called? Dead Cemetery or something like that. Yeah, something like that. They're basically his team that go around hunting fugitive Transformers, both Autobot and Decepticon alike. And basically, the story is that Mark Wahlberg is a shit inventor who lives in the middle of nowhere in Texas, and he's got no money. He lives with this young daughter called Tessa. His name's Cade, but the best thing I thought was their surname, fucking Jaeger. I thought, oh god.
Why you're dragging down a decent franchise into your shit now?
Oh, I just thought it was awful. But anyway, like Mark Wahlberg's he's a shitty inventor, but he finds a dilapidated truck that's full of bullet holes and like military grade shells, and he's like very intrigued by it. And for some reason, he finds it in a cinema just in Texas, just because. And he takes it home, and what do you know? He starts repairing it, and what do you know? It's actually a wounded Optimus Prime. And that kind of kicks off the events of this, where Optimus Prime's basically got to reunite the last surviving Autobots and kind of combat Kelsey Grammer and his shady extraterrestrial master or partner who's helping them hunt down the Autobots and all the rest of it. But on top of that, you've got this whole other fucking subplot of Stanley Tucci's character, a guy called Joshua Joyce, who's pretty much Steve Jobs in another name, who runs this tech company that's managed to harness the power of Transformium, the metal Transformers are made out of, and actually make his own Transformers. And there's some bullshit with that's basically an excuse to bring back the franchise's main villain. And oh god, that's the sad thing is the kind of Autobots and Transformium stuff's actually the more interesting but least explored or at least done anything with plot. The main plot is fucking really Mark Wahlberg's inability to let his daughter grow up. I just couldn't give less of a shit.
I just don't understand what they were going for. He came across as a bit of a knob. And if you got Mark Wahlberg, if you want him to be a jerk, have him be a jerk, but don't have him trying to be really, really caring and overprotective and a jerk. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, like, that's what, like, talking about Pain and Gain, he was a complete arsehole in that, but he was fucking class in it at the same time. It would have been better if he just played the same character.
Yeah. I feel that the Transformers franchise could do with an arsehole.
You know what, they should have just chucked The Rock and Anthony Mackie in there with him. It would have been so much
better. It would be better than his daughter and her boyfriend that she's not allowed to have.
And like the girl who his daughter Tessa is played by a young girl called Nicole Peltz. Is it Nicola Peltz? And she's 19, so she's well above board. But she's playing like a 15, 16-year-old, and my God, she is sexualized to the nth degree. She makes Megan Fox look like a fucking nun.
She really does.
It's ridiculous. I'm sure she wears hot pants for most of the film that are so short her pockets overshoot the bottom. And I tell you what, Charlie and Dennis wouldn't be very happy with that. But I just it's unfucking real, and how sexualized she was, considering she was meant to be a 16-year-old girl. It was unfucking believable. But what's even worse is her boyfriend, Shane Dyson, who's this kind of race car driver that just turns up because. And the guy who plays him is called Jack Rayner, and I don't really know much about him, but I'm just having a quick look at his IMDb page, and it says he's from Colorado, and he's meant to be from Texas in the film. So why has he got a fucking Irish accent? Apparently his mother was Irish, but I still. I
was questioning its authenticity while I was watching it. There was times when it just didn't sound right.
His character was basically all over the place. I don't know whether this lad was born in Colorado, then moved back to Ireland with his mother, who is Irish, or what. But they basically wrote a character who was a Texan, and then they were like, "Oh shit, the best kind of young pretty boy we've had audition is Irish. Fuck it, no one cares. Just throw Optimus Prime in the background. No one give a fuck." And
that's what they seem to do a lot of times with a lot of things in this film. For example, Optimus Prime being completely fucked up. Oh, and then they're just on the highway, and he's fixed again.
I was going to bring that up. I could not, but I was like, what? Yeah,
The whole plot of the film hinged on Mark Wahlberg couldn't fix him.
I was like, Jesus Christ, like, fucking hell, my boy Optimus, he's fucked up. And I was like, how are they going to fix this? He needs to get back to his squadron. Oh, no, but Ratchet, no, you know what, fuck, I'm not going to really hold back on many spoilers, because who gives a fuck? But, oh no, Ratchet, the medic's been fucking killed in, like, the opening scene. Who's going to fix him up? And then all of a sudden he just decides, oh, by the way, if I scan the next truck that passes me, I can completely repair myself. I understand that they can scan other vehicles and things and transform that way, but this completely repairs him from being, like, on death's door. He's literally bleeding out his fucking heart, his equivalent of a heart, all over the place. And I was like, what?
I'm going to say it, right? That's where this film lost me.
What, in the opening act?
Yeah. I was ticking along with it just fine. Character set up, Mark Wahlberg's a father, blah blah, he fixes things. And then they were like, you know, the soldiers arrive. I was like, yeah, this is all right. This and then Optimus Prime's all right.
I know. I was like, fucking hell. They basically set up a first act that they couldn't be asked to resolve before they meander onto the next flat, boring, who gives a shit plot point.
It's so stupid. It's like they're escaping from the military or whoever they are, the CIA. Optimus Prime's fucked up. There's 3 humans. They've just killed off another human. Things are looking incredibly bleak, and you're thinking, oh my god, how are they even gonna start to sort stuff out? Within 3 minutes, he's fully repaired, and all of the Autobots are together on the same road.
I know. I want to come on to the Autobots, but first of all, you say that they already killed off a character. Basically, one of Mark Wahlberg's kind of sidekick in this is a guy called Lucas Flannery. He's played by T.J. Miller, he's kind of like a C-tier comedy actor. You see him in films here and there. I think he was in that film, She's Out of Your League, with Alice Eve.
Yeah, he is. I quite like T.J. Miller.
I find him a bit irritating, quite frankly. And so when he showed up, I was like, oh my god, have they not learned that no one likes these fucking characters that turn up just to be like light, childish comic relief? So when he gets obliterated, I was so happy. I was like, thank fuck. All right, they kind of threw a curveball. I thought there was going to be put some shit. Like that kid in the second movie, the Shia LaBeouf's fucking roommate, he was irritating as fuck, and T.J. Miller was going to be the equivalent of him until he gets fucking iced early on, and I was so happy when he did. But yeah, talking about the fucking Autobots. What happened to all the familiar faces?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, over the course of the 3 films, the roster's always slightly changed, but there's always been some sort of introduction.
Yeah, it's kind of always chalked it up to the fact that a bit of time has passed, a few more Autobots have found their way to Earth. I know, like, the likes of Ironhide was killed in the 3rd film, but, like, and I suppose Ratchet's kind of killed in the opening scene of that, but I'm pretty sure there was still plenty of others kicking about at the end of Dark of the Moon. But here, it's like, nah, fuck it, everyone scrap it. No one gives a shit about anybody but Bumblebee and Optimus Prime. Fucking, let's just make things up. Let's make new Autobots up. I mean, I'm no Transformers expert, but I don't imagine any of them are particularly faithful replicas of anything that's come in the cartoon series. They all seem completely tailor-made for the movie.
I mean, it might just be the fact that I've seen the other films a couple more times, but I can name you more Autobots, like, from the first film than I can't even... There was a Japanese Autobot, and that's the only one that I can remember. I don't even know his name.
You know what? I had to look... I found the names because I had to fucking look them up. Honest to God. What's amazing, though, is it's not so much the Autobots' names, it's who's doing the fucking voices. Right? So you've got Drift, which is the samurai Autobot that turns into a helicopter, and a Ducati, because, you know, fuck it, why not have multiple transforms? And that's the voice is done by Ken Watanabe, because, you know, you need a Japanese, you know, you've got a samurai fucking Autobot, just get the Japanese guy. At least, to be fair to him, at least he had more to do in this than he did in Godzilla.
Yeah, that's damn true. He was just doing that because he was literally Japanese.
I know, it was ridiculous. But on top of that, you had one called Hound, who was kind of like a Vietnam veteran, and that was voiced by John fucking Goodman.
Yeah, I remember him now.
And I was sitting there throughout most of the movie going, that voice is so familiar. Who the fuck is it? I spent more time thinking about whose voice it was than I did really paying attention to this movie. I was trying to entertain myself like that. It was ridiculous. And to be fair, I actually, out of all of them, I thought he had the most personality and was the most fun.
He was better than Bumblebee or Optimus in this as well.
Yeah, he was.
And I couldn't even remember him, though. That's what's sad.
Yeah, I don't think any of them are really introduced. Like, in Transformers 1, they're all introduced, one after the other to, establish them as characters. Here, it's almost like, they've realised that no one gives a fuck, and they're going to be gone in the next film anyway, so don't even bother. But on top of him, the only other Autobot there is a guy called Crosshairs, who's kind of a guy. I don't even know what the fuck was going on with this guy. He has a long fucking trench coat on, and he dual wields Uzis. He was barely a Transformer.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about. Was he in the film?
Yeah, he was green, and he wore a long trench coat, and he had two guns. It was I don't know, and he had a pair of goggles that would come down, and he was the cheeky one, and he was a bit like the kind of shady one.
What was his name?
Crosshairs.
Okay, I'm going to look him up. You keep talking. I have no memory of this guy.
Oh my god. He was, to be fair, he was in it quite a lot as far as the Autobots were, but his voice actor is John DiMaggio, the well-known voice actor. But on top of him, you got Peter Cullen come back to do Optimus Prime. And you know what always bugged me about these movies is that Bumblebee still cannot speak, despite speaking at the end of the first movie. Yeah,
that really bugs me.
There's no reason, he's not the kind of coming of age hero's pet anymore. He's his own. Bumblebee doesn't really have, other than the fact that he's the most marketable, except Optimus Prime now in this movie franchise. There's no reason for him to be in these anymore. He's got his story arcs kind of should have finished. It's only because he is a marketable fucking thing.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And as much as I love Bumblebee, he only had a few hot spots of personality in this. He doesn't like it when the clone Bumblebee's around. That was funny.
It's alright.
I've got to reduce my expectations just so that everything isn't shit.
The thing is, Bumblebee's always kind of the youngster, but he's brave, and he doesn't get any time to shine in this, really, I didn't think.
And what's really annoying is Mark Wahlberg called him B all the way through. I was that's not his fucking name. You
don't have a fucking pre-existing relationship with this thing. Shia LaBeouf did. It was his car. It was his friend. He could have a nickname. Mark Wahlberg's just fucking met him.
Yeah. He called him B the first time he met him. I was that's just fucking rude.
Well, he's watched the other films, hasn't he? But one thing I did pick up on, I don't know how I did, because I'm not any particular Transformer fucking nerd or anything. I said I would give a little bit spoilers, but Megatron is back in kind of in a one-way shape or form, in that he's now Galvatron, which is something people have been kind of expecting for since the second movie, actually. Yeah. But one thing I thought that was quite neat is that Hugo Weaving pretty much went on record after the last movie that he hates these movies, doesn't want to do any more. So Megatron was never going to be voiced by him anymore, which is a shame, because I actually quite liked what he did with Megatron. It was different, but I liked it. Whereas Galvatron's now here, so he's an excuse just to completely rejig him. And he's now actually voiced by Frank Welker, who's the original Megatron voice actor from the cartoon series.
Yeah, that is awesome. I do like that. I liked Hugo Weaving, but I think it's they've changed the character enough so you can justify a slight change in voice and changing it back to the original. I think it's really, not only is it nice, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did like that. I picked up kind of, he's not in it much, Galvatron. He's almost in it, so they can then set up an inevitable fifth film.
Yeah, well, it's the start of a new trilogy, this one, Ben. So.
Well, yeah, fucking hell. God, I'm exhausted thinking about it.
No, I get the feeling they tried to do too much in this one. You mentioned in the second one they went too deep into Transformers lore, which is true, but they didn't do it wasn't too much stuff going on. It was
fairly linear. It was just a bit too overblown.
This had two storylines running parallel, one which wasn't concluded, one which was, and then the human storyline running in between them, and it was just hard to work out. The pacing was just so bad.
Oh, it was all over the fucking place.
They should have dropped one of the story. I don't even know, I know they've set up both storylines to continue in the next film.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I just feel they should have concluded one of them completely now.
Oh, it was just fucking crazy, man. I mean, thing is, I was saying there's loads of these different plot weaves plot lines, interweaving with each other. Nothing happens in this movie. Like, no. I'm struggling to remember really what happens. Like, it's just tiresome, busy work until they finally go, you know what, we've been going for nearly 3 hours. I mean, this film is on nearly 3 hours. I'm trying to find the exact runtime, actually, because it is... it's just absolutely exhausting how long it is.
Yeah.
I can't even find it. It's something like 260 minutes or something. No,
it's really bad when...
it's like 163 minutes or something.
I think it must have been towards the end of the second act. I thought it was finishing. And...
You were hoping it was finishing.
Well, yeah. They'd ramped up the tension nicely. Enough. And then they've done stuff that they had never done before. So Mark Wahlberg ends up on a Transformers ship, like in space, or like in the atmosphere or something. And then when he's climbing down those cables to come back to the building, I thought, yeah, this is quite interesting. You know, this is completely original for a Transformers film. And then the film's not over. There's another hour left. And then there's a big scene where they destroy a city.
Yeah, and oh god damn,
it was in no way as exciting as the third finish.
No, it wasn't. It was like there wasn't as much going on because pretty much Optimus Prime and Bumblebee are the only like long-standing characters anyone gives a shit about as much as they do. You know, I don't think anyone really cares anymore, to be honest. But there's so little Pearl. Like I really didn't care. I just did not give a shit.
Yeah, I really didn't care.
As well, I always quite liked the kind of this horrible, this bitter, long-standing feud between Megatron and Optimus Prime, and like the fact that they're both pretty fucking badass fighters, and when they fight, they really, really go at it properly. Whereas the villain in this, he's a Transformer, but he's not an Autobot or a Decepticon. It's a guy called Lockdown. And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this guy was created for this movie. I don't think he's an established villain or anything like that. But I just didn't give a shit about him or his motives. And you know what? If he fucking won, who gives a shit? You know, like, all he wants to do is lock up the Autobots and take them back to wherever they came from. I was like, all right, you know, fucking, if you want to do that, no, I've never met an Autobot. I don't give a shit. It's just so hard to give, so hard to care.
Yeah, and maybe this storyline might have worked better when we cared more about the Transformers, but we've reached the fourth one, and you're right, apart from Bumblebee and Optimus Prime, we don't care at all, and when we do, we care very little.
The thing is, though, they're not, Bumblebee is, he's such a petulant little teenager in this film. He's like he was at the beginning of the first movie, but worse, turned up to, 11 just because, you know, they couldn't think of
I actually feel like he'd matured by the third film, as a character. He wasn't grumpy. He wasn't
as much as he has a character.
Yeah, well.
But the thing is, as well, Optimus Prime in this, he's always meant to be his fucking archetypal personality is he's the noble warrior who will sacrifice everything before doing a wrong thing. Here, he's just fucking popping a cap in everybody's ass, and he's literally roaring around, blasting humans, going, "I will fucking kill you!" And Jesus Christ, I know things are bad, but this just does not seem like it fits. And
it was after he'd already killed a few people. I'm sure he had. And he was I vowed never to kill any humans, but today I take an exception. And I was like, today you take an exception? What the fuck happened yesterday?
It's was that just wounding shots, was it? When you shoot them with a 30-foot gun.
It amazes me that not as many people die. How many people get fucking hit in the head by Optimus Prime, and they're like, oh man, that hurt. He's a fucking robot.
How tall is he? He's he's as big as a house, and he wields a giant fucking sword, and it's unreal, and it's just ridiculous. But one thing that did bug me about this film, and really bugged me, not only because I think it's a cheap marketing tactic, but it was a missed opportunity. It could have really, if they used what I'm going to talk about to better effect, it would have been a better film for it. But first of all, Optimus Prime is seen in all the posters wielding a giant fuck-off sword and being all badass with a shield and sword and fighting loads of stuff. He gets that in the last 5 minutes of this movie. And it's like, it's just, and literally the reason he gets it is just because let's give him a cool weapon for the finale.
Oh, look, you're right when I need it.
Yeah, and then the other thing is the fucking Dinobots.
With the sword.
Oh my god, like the Dinobots, like how much big of a deal has been made about them? And I think, you know what, they could have been awesome because they're not good guys necessarily. They kind of have a loose relationship, a loose alliance with the Autobots. They're kind of a bit brutish and a bit like, they're kind of like barbarian warriors who are really good at wrecking shit, but they're a bit fucking hard to handle and a bit of a handful. And like, that relationship is so glossed over in this film that none of them ever speak. None of them are named in the film. Not even Grimlock, who's the leader of them, who's the T-Rex one. He's the only one, as far as I'm aware, that is actually from the cartoon series. The rest are new versions just made up for the film, and none of them are ever. Yeah, but he's not. I've just been reminded that one of them's referred to as Spike. But he, as far as I'm aware, he's not in the cartoon series or anything. He's just made up for the film. I mean, there's the flying one with two heads. He's got more in common with the fucking Decepticon version in the cartoon series than any of the Autobots. They're just made up for fucking toys and posters, and they're in it for 2 minutes.
I've never seen such a promise, like, apart from the Sword and Shield, but to be honest, they didn't make as big a deal about that as having Dinobots in the film. They weren't. You shouldn't be allowed to market a film on a character that's in it for that long.
Honest to God, like, if you've watched, like, I think there was, like, 2 or 3 cinematic trailers, but, like, full trailers that showed the Dinobots before this came out, you've seen the Dinobots.
I don't think, the trailer was, like, 3 minutes long, so if you saw a minute and a half of Dinobots, you've pretty much seen most of it. You've
seen all the cool bits, like when Optimus Prime's riding Grimlock and, you know, all that shit. You've seen it, you've seen them. The only thing you haven't seen is their humanoid forms, which, I gotta admit, I thought they looked cool. Again, they kind of reminded me of, like, barbarian warriors adorned in, like, skulls of dinosaurs and stuff. It looked cool. But they're in it even less time than when they're fucking dinosaurs.
It's like, doesn't Optimus Prime hit them 3 times and they're like, yeah, alright. But they don't even say that. They just transform and let him jump on their back.
He has, like, a brief fight with Grimlock to establish his dominance. And I was just like, oh, God, I honestly, this is just... I couldn't really give a shit about this anymore. Just finish. Just let the wreck shit and finish.
I'm incredibly annoyed by this. Like, I wasn't a fan of Transformers TV show or anything. I think the first one that I watched religiously was Beast Wars.
Beast Wars was mint.
Beast Wars was mint, and if they fucked up the characters from Beast Wars as much as they fucked with the Dinobots, as in, didn't put the characters in at all, just put their likenesses in the film. If I'd been marketed that at me and then I went to see it, and then my characters weren't in the film, I'd be really annoyed.
And the thing is, they're not complex characters, so just put them in. At least let Grimlock say, like, me, Grimlock, I'll smash you or something. Like, you say stupid shit like that in the cartoon series all the time. But again, give them a fucking line. Get the voice actor back in. They did it for bloody Galvatron. Oh, God, it's fucking infuriating, this film. It really is. It was a 3-hour just... exhausting grind through nonsensical bullshit. It was exhausting because, to be fair to it, while nothing really happens, nothing happens, yet so much happens that it's tiring. Like, the camera never sits still. Things are exploding. People are running. People are shouting. Things are getting broken. Robots are shooting each other. It never sits still, and it's exhausting because you're just thinking, I'm getting tired out, but I don't know why. What the fuck's going on? I have no clue.
A minute, and then maybe something exciting will actually happen.
Oh, God. Now, there's one...
after the second act, and before it ticked, like, when I thought it was going to end, and then it didn't. And then they're on a like, plane in Hong Kong for what appears to be no reason. I had to turn to my friend who I was sitting with. I was like, what's happening? I just couldn't follow it anymore. And then Stanley Tucci just he plays, his character just turns overnight.
You know what? Like, I've got a few. Like, the reason, you were saying that this could have. I don't know if it was before the podcast one recording, but you mentioned that this film could have finished when they went to Chicago. They could have had their big battle there, and that would have been the end of it. And you know what? It would have been an hour shorter, and it would have been great. I would have much preferred that.
Yeah.
But fucking, they go to Hong Kong. But you know the reason that is. Now, movies, especially big budget movies, are now start trying to feature China as much as possible, because if they do, it makes a lot more money in China. So the last, like, third of this film is pretty much pandering to Chinese audiences.
Well, let them have the extended cut.
Thing is, that like, it wouldn't make sense without it. It doesn't make a great deal of sense anyway, but it's just utter nonsense without that third act. Like, it just is, it's terrible. And we couldn't do it, and oh god. Well, I will... What?
I enjoyed G.I. Joe 2 more than Transformers 4.
You know what, as much as we shit on G.I. Joe 2, it was fun. At least it had a sense of fun. This does not have a sense of fun. It doesn't, it just takes itself so damn seriously. And I gotta say, we talked about Stanley Tucci. Thank fuck he was in this movie. Because he was the one, he was like the meager ray of sunshine in this movie. Like, for what he had to work with, he actually did make me laugh a few times, and I did enjoy him for what his character was meant to be doing. Kelsey Grammer as well. Like, I always like Kelsey Grammer, but he's there to do nothing but other than twirl his mustache and be a dick, basically. It's. I was thinking, goddamn, you gotta get Fraser and Beast a bit more fucking credit than this bullshit. And you've got, like, fucking the Chinese actress, Bing Bing Lee, who is in there just because they need another Chinese actress for Chinese box office draw. She's got no reason to be there.
No, well, I mean, her storyline's really completely irrelevant.
And you've got, she's like an assistant. She's like the Hong Kong head of Stanley Tucci's company. So when he's in Hong Kong... she's his second. And then you've got a British actress called Sophie Myles, who's... I quite like Sophie Myles, actually. She crops up in a few things, but she's got no reason to be in this either.
in Thunderbirds.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And she's also in... God, this is going back. But do you remember Underworld? She is the blonde girl who's like Kate... what's she called? The main character...
Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale. God, I went through every Kate other than her. Kate Beckinsale's rival for like the one of the leaders. I don't know, she fans them, but she's also in a film called Outlander with Jim Caviezel about like an alien who crash lands in Viking Earth and has to fight an alien dragon thing he brings with him.
Awesome.
You never seen that movie?
No.
It's pretty good, man. It's quite a good B movie. Fucking Ron Perlman's in it.
Oh, it's got to be good then.
He just crops up in all these B movies, and but yeah, Sophie Myles is in this, and she's got no fucking reason to be here. No.
Do you know who I hated in this as well? I mean, we started talking about how much we loved Stanley Tucci, and now we're talking about hate again. The English scientist.
Oh God, James Blackman.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him. He crops up in loads of little things over here.
He's on telly a lot.
Yeah.
I think he
was in Richmond Web Look.
He was, yes.
He's in no way good enough comedic actor to be in a Hollywood blockbuster.
Well, he's well suited in fucking Transformers: The Age of Extinction. Really,
he's about right. But no Englishman would ever say "kick arse." It just infuriated me.
I know. It was just bad all around, isn't it? Did you know he was in Assassin's Creed 4?
Was he?
He was Stead Bonnet.
Oh, was he the guy with the T? Or no, that was in 3. The guy that you meet at the start.
No. He's one of the pirates later on in the game.
Oh,
I think he might betray. I can't fucking remember. But oh god, yeah, this film, man. I mean, two things I liked. I've already mentioned one of them. Stanley Tucci, I liked him. He really, really did save this film from really sliding into utter boredom. Like, at least he was funny, and at least he tried with what was available.
Yeah.
But then Stanley Tucci always does seem to do stuff like that. Like, I really like him in the Hunger Game movies.
He's amazing in the Hunger Games. I just watched Catching Fire the other night again. It's just like he dives head first into that role.
Yeah, and it's a role you kind of need to do that with.
Yeah, he dives head first into his wig.
It's an awesome wig. But I'll tell you what else. I mentioned this guy at the beginning. A guy called Titus Welliver, and he plays a character called James Savoy, and he's like Kelsey Grammer's hitman.
Yeah,
he's in it far too much for what his purpose is. Basically, to have a fight with Mark Wahlberg.
It's like a Darth Maul type character where he crops up and is menacing once every now and again, and then he's like a showdown at the end. He's like the main villain. Like, he gets more screen time than Kelsey Grammer, Lockdown, or Galvatron, I'm willing to bet.
Pretty much. I mean, before I go into that, one thing I did like as well is like the returning Autobots, like Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, get complete redesigns, and I actually quite like the redesigns.
Yeah, I do as well.
I think they look really cool.
The actual car and I think they picked good vehicles for the Transformers this time around.
Yeah, they actually feel like high-end shit that, like, you know, super intelligent aliens that can transform and shit would actually, you know, pick.
Yeah.
It makes sense that, like, there's a Ducati there, like the fastest car ever made. Yeah, why not fucking be one of them? You know, you're a Transformer, you can probably go faster than the real one.
Hang on, Ben. Can you hear that?
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, the fire alarm's going off.
You kept Transformers attacking your building. Have you got a legitimate fire alert?
You what?
Are you having a legitimate fire?
No, they're just really sensitive, but I'm putting my trousers on in case I'm going to die.
You don't want to die with no pants on. God, this room's so hot, it's ridiculous. I've had to close like the door and everything so like keep noise out, and I'm just dying of heat.
I don't know how people don't learn though. I mean, I've learned a lot of shit in this place because the oven is crap. Just open the window and waft before this fire alarm goes off.
I suppose it's the joys of living in halls.
Right, it stopped. So either the fire has burned the fire alarm.
I'm sure you'll be alright. Just keep touching the handle of your room every so often.
Right.
I can't even remember what I was saying, but yeah, sorry. The redesigns of the Transformers are pretty cool. I actually really like them. The vehicles are turned into, you know, the high end stuff. They're a bit more impressive than like the GMC truck that Ironhide turned into.
It was a real nice to see a Bugatti Veyron, and I've never seen one that's like white before. I've always seen like the chromey, the Kevlar type colour ones. But yeah, no one would choose a GMC fucking like pickup truck.
Oh shit! I've just realised it is a Bugatti Veyron. I've been calling it a Ducati because isn't that a bike or something? I've just fucking realised.
I didn't even notice you were saying it different.
Yeah, sorry, I've been calling it the wrong fucking car. Obviously, that's how much attention I paid. Or how well I know my cars. But yeah, I did like a lot what they did with the Transformers as such. The designs and stuff. I wasn't a great lover of Galvatron's design though. I much preferred Megatron's old style. He's so similar to what he used to be. That
it's just he's more based on Optimus Prime this time around, though. Isn't that the idea?
Well, he turns into a truck like Optimus Prime, but that's not the only similarities. He still looks like Megatron. But I don't know. I just didn't really like his design that much.
I didn't understand that whole thing because Megatron was subliminally influencing the designers to make him look like Megatron.
Yeah, so why didn't he just look like Megatron, like, all together?
Yeah, well, yes, that, or why did he think that was a good idea?
Well, I don't know. Let's not delve too deep into this, all right? It's paper thin at best. One thing, getting back on things I didn't like, I really didn't like all the artificial Transformers that are made in this film. Their Transformium transformations. I thought they were lazy.
Well, it looks like, they couldn't be asked, so there's like, here he is as a truck, here he is as a robot, and whoa, swirly, and oh, there he goes.
Yeah, there's a lot of these artificial Transformers that are created that basically break down into what's essentially pixels and then rearrange themselves into whatever they like to be. As you say, Simon, it just looks like they couldn't be asked to animate the transformations. Because, to be fair, it looks like it takes a lot of effort and a lot of thought of what goes where. And when you watch the transformations in earlier movies, some of them are really fucking impressive. And you know what? I know it's not only are the new villains now made of artificial transformium and can just whiz around and do what the fuck they like, but a lot of the transformations for the Autobots and shit in this movie are kind of done off screen.
Yeah.
The camera would cut away, and then you'd see the vehicle drive away. There was hardly any proper transformations in this movie, and I don't know, that bugs me in a Transformers movie. It's kind of the selling point.
Didn't the Dinobots do an off-screen transformation?
You know what? I can't even remember. I really, really can't remember.
Do dive into a rating then?
Yeah, I've got nothing else to say about this film, really.
I've got something else to say, actually.
Oh, really?
I paid £16 to see it.
Did you see it in IMAX?
No, I saw it at Odeon.
What? How did you pay £16?
That's just how much it was.
For one ticket?
We had to buy 3D glasses as well, and
holy shit, man! Oh my god!
13. It was £26 for two of us. Sorry, it was £13.
Still,
I've got a Cineworld Unlimited card, and I paid £13 to see Transformers 4.
Transformers. Still a better title. I'm not letting it go. That's another missed opportunity. Oh god, then yeah, your rating's probably going to be slightly lower than mine then, just for the sake of that.
I want to bring back the S.
Yeah, I've been really harsh on this movie, and I came out with thinking, you know what, this is probably 2 stars. But then again, the last the movie I saw after this was Mrs. Brown's Boys. So in comparison, this wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
It's
2 stars. So
I'm happy to give it 2 stars. It's easily the poorest of all the Transformers films.
Oh, by a long shot.
Oh, by a long shot, and that's like, it's kind of the first one that's made me realize why people hate these, like why the internet rages about these films so much. And I always kind of thought, you know what, I enjoy them. Fuck it, I can see the merit of them. But no, this one's really kind of ground me down. I just couldn't give a shit. And the fact that they're still planning another 2 movies at the least is... Oh, God. And the worst thing is, I know for a fact that I'll probably have to go and see the next one, just for, if not for curiosity's sake, for a review.
Yeah, well, you know, we're part of the problem, aren't we?
Well, we pay Cineworld Unlimited cards, so I don't... Well, you didn't.
Yeah.
But,
I did. I just didn't use it.
Yeah, I didn't pay for this. I'm glad I didn't pay for this. Although, I suppose, no, in a way, I technically did, because my girlfriend came with me, and I paid for her ticket.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, fuck.
Your girlfriend?
Or my fiancée, whatever you want to call it, put a label on it. Yeah.
Yeah, should we go for 2 stars then?
2 stars, but it's almost a begrudging 2 stars.
Yeah, well, I rated it the same way as you did, because I gave Zero Theorem 2 stars, and this I enjoyed it slightly more, so had to be really.
Yeah, I think there's some merit. It's not merit. Like, if this had been a shorter movie, it wouldn't have been half as bad. Stanley Tucci's entertaining enough, and, you know, as much as they were a wasted opportunity, fucking Dinobots, so, you know, 2 stars.
I'm not leaving my dad.
We need a new army.